And we are live. The adult eggnog is poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a fun holiday hat on. Celebrate the time.
Festive, festive. We are
That's right.
rounding towards the big moment, the big season. Games are wrapped up and placed under the tree with care in hopes that gaming dads can also be there. We'll see.
Wow. Off the cuff, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. This is amazing.
I should have. You would have thought I would have planned that in advance. I did not. So yeah, so we're rounding up to Christmas. I think we're a little less than 2 weeks away. Hopefully, Jeff, you got your kids' gifts kind of squirreled away for the year. Don't say anything on air, of course.
Well, you mean, yeah, the gifts they're going to get that I want to open and I want to play with because
Okay.
they're kind of cool. So, yep.
Yeah, all cool stuff. One for you, one for me,
That's right.
one for you. But the so one lump of coal that has kind of been granted upon the world, unfortunately, seems to have been Cyberpunk. Or as I've very punnily placed it here in our video stream of Cyberbug 2020.
Cyberbug.
I did it.
Boom.
So funny. What do you make of it? I mean, so there's nobody who has even seen a video game before has not caught wind
Yeah.
of how this launch has gone down. Like, this been? What is the Cyberpunk Bugfest kind of backlash call it like been like from your perspective?
Well, as everyone who has listened to the show, I am a big fan of Witcher 3. It took me a long
Just a
time to beat
bit.
it. Long investment of my life. But I loved it. And it rarely had a couple glitches, but CD Projekt Red, the developers of Witcher 3 and Cyberbug, this launch has been almost like a deep cut to their reputation, I think. I think they are going to have a hard time coming back from something as disastrous as this release. And it just, you're showing a lot of video of just the crazy amount of bugs, and something that's been in development for so long is either going to be really, really good, or they've kind of been in development so long that they've lost vision of it, and it's kind of going to be slapped together and just pushed out the door. So I'm not sure. I said before I'm going to hold off on this just with the time element, because they said it was like over 100 hours or something. But now it's just like, well, it's a good thing I held off, because it kind of looks like it's not ready, not fully baked yet. So I'm not sure what you think over there, but
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I find a little bit disingenuous is the anger, the backlash towards it, because for something of this size, after all those delays, like the thought that it was going to be kind of buggy that's ridiculous. Of course it is. Now, I mean, is it this bad? And I hear there's like mission breaking bugs, like you have to do this quest, but they won't accept it. Like there's things like that that really become somewhat a lot more unacceptable, I guess you would say. The thing, if anything, it's just kind of sad. I find it sad because when you see somebody when they start to get into it, and if they talk beyond the bugs, like the world and the gameplay, the quality of it just seems so amazing. Like people seem really enthused by this,
yeah.
despite everything, and it's sort of like the bugs of it like lets down what could have been like this amazing gaming moment. And I think for me, I was also thinking just about the next gen situation where the patch for next gen for consoles doesn't come out until February. Like
Maybe.
and
Who
now,
knows
like,
now?
you have to think like they should probably put that on hold until they fix it,
Yeah.
right? Like fix some of this stuff. So yeah, it's just, I suppose disappointed is the way it is, even though I had no plans of buying it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, at some point maybe, but I wasn't lined up ready to go. But
Well,
I have no horse in the race, and to see it more, it's just after the appreciating from afar Witcher as I did, company seemed amazing, and then this happens, and it's just
yeah.
ugh, this sucks for gaming.
Yeah.
I guess is the way to think of it.
I think one day I would have, well, and I still might buy it, depending on how it turns out. But even from a dad perspective on just some of the stuff that made it into the game. Like I knew it would be like an M-rated game, and The Witcher is an M-rated game as well. They have scenes in it that are not appropriate for kids to watch, but with that world of Witcher, I could go around the open world and kind of just, have some fun and explore. And my kids could be here, and I'm not doing anything crazy because I know what's going to happen. And in this world, it kind of, from what I've seen, there's a lot in it that is just kind of just placed in there for almost shock value, and it's at random intervals. And I'm not sure this is one that I could even try to squeeze in with my kids, even after, they're getting older now. Things are like a little bit more apparent to them, but I don't think this is one I could play. I would have to wait for them to go to bed, and since they're getting older, their bedtimes are later, so I don't know when I'm gonna play this.
So your dad, the window of which you'd be able to actually play this game,
Nope.
given your like kid's age, is like so small
Yep.
that like that's kind of impossible. Yeah, it feels very gratuitously not safe for work sometimes. And it's not like we're prudes, and it's not like, oh, don't you ever have nudity in your game or something like that. But at some point, I remember there's this one scene I was watching a streamer. It's kind of funny to see how he acted, because at some point he was wondering how to handle it, because he's like, here's just a whole lot of nudity on my stream. Do I turn it off? Like, and I think there's like settings you can kind of turn stuff off, but like even still, like context to other stuff that goes on, like there's no avoiding it sometimes. So it doesn't really seem family friendly.
No.
That's a stupid way to put it. Obviously it's not family friendly.
No,
Witcher is not
yeah.
family friendly.
No.
But it's almost like it's to the point of, it's like R rated. Like it's got to be like quarantined away from the rest of the family. Like you could not have this around. You'd want to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of unfortunate. It just looks like it's shoehorned in there, some of that stuff. I mean, The Witcher obviously had scenes that were relationship scenes, and this is like, I think of Mass Effect, right? You could romance a character and have those scenes, and here it just kind of looks like, I don't know, it's being first person. It's a little bit more, I don't know, intense than it needs to be. I don't know. So just be careful, dads.
Yeah. So dads, careful where you play it. Both from A, make sure there's no kids around. B, make sure it's not on a console, because the console release seemed particularly plagued.
Right.
Unfortunately, it certainly seems like it's a wait and see, and hopefully, again, like I think we're fans of the company and what they produce, and you can see what this could be. So ideally, in the new year, at some point, they're able to kind of fix her up, optimize things, and turn this into a No Man's Sky style story.
That's right, like a redemption arc. I like it. Good
Right?
thinking.
So we'll call it the 1 year redemption arc.
That's right.
They could pull it up. We could still do this.
Yes.
Now, going from the absolute top tier, latest, demanding graphics of a game that is just horrifically large,
Yeah.
to a game that is perfectly small.
Complete opposite. Yeah.
Like, it could not be more opposite in a way, as far as like tiny and tight. And a surprise hit, really, that runs on anything, including like a 10-year-old iPhone. Among Us, has it officially launched for the Switch as of this recording?
Yeah.
Okay, so December 2020, Among Us is available for the Switch.
Yeah.
No voice chat. So
Yeah. So
wait a minute.
yeah. So there's a lot to unpack here. But my kids are really into Among Us. They love it. They play it on their very, very old hand-me-down iPhones that we gave them, and it kind of fits that need for them, right? So they go around, they do the game. They don't use voice chat in that either. So they just use the keyboard or whatever they, do to get it done. They see this drop on the indie showcase through Nintendo, Among Us for the Switch, and they're like, oh my God, we need to get it on there. It's a bigger screen. It's cooler because it's on Nintendo. We need to get this. So I think it was like $5-6 Canadian. I'm like, yeah, okay. But then I see the online subscription, which I do not have anymore because it was useless.
They will get you. You weren't playing those occasional NES games on the Switch.
Like again, if their online service had like a library of old consoles, I am a nostalgic freak. I would go for that. I would have it. But I am not gonna dive in for, I think it's 35 bucks Canadian, for the family pass, because you need the family pass if you want it for all the users on the machine. So if it was just me, they could go on me, like my user profile, and get online, but then they're using my username, which I don't want because they're older now and playing this game. Who knows what they say? And then my whole library's locked out. I don't know. So that's one thing I'm not going to get. I don't think I'm going to punch the ticket to get Nintendo Online. And I know that's why they dropped this game. This is to help them get
Right.
subscribers to their online service, which, like you read off the top, no voice chat even. So Nintendo doesn't even have a voice chat option. You have to get a phone app to have voice chat. So now they're using their old phones if they got it was patched in. So we're back to square one again.
Yeah, God, it seems like such a fascinating game. Like I really should play it. Honestly, it's weird that I still haven't. Even just like a one-off to like give it a shot. And again, like it's free on mobile, so I can just
Yeah.
hop it on phone, play around for a couple times, and see what it's like. Man, to have it on the Switch does seem like a really nice place for it. As far as its quick playability, it's got to be much nicer to control it with the actual Joy-Cons as opposed to mobile.
Yeah, I would see. Yeah, for sure.
So I guess the way to think for me to be if in your house your family is big on Among Us, like maybe like much like your kids are like Jeff's kids, and it's great, and you already have the Nintendo, you have and you enjoy the Nintendo online service. This seems like a no-brainer because it
Yes.
seems like a really perfect kind of game, and I do like that. It's funny that I appreciate and I like that there's that extra kind of social element to it. Not so much in that like, hooray, they're chatting with strangers, but more the convincing of people, like the adjudication, we're going to have a discussion and we're going to try to suss things out. Oh, that's a good play on the words for sus.
That
but
was full of them today. It's great.
right? Go back to the old school days of puns. The so yeah, you have to, but the fact that you have to like work with people and then adjudicate things and like fight back and forth and like make a case against and for, I like that about that. Like I think that's interesting. That's an interesting kind of social skill to get into. I like
Yeah.
that part of a game. But however, like typing on a on the Switch keyboard is not really gonna
No.
allow for much of it. So
No, and granted, it still has the touchscreen functionality, so it is a little bit better. But like you said, it's really kind of cool to see them figure out. It's like the game of Clue, and I've said that out in a couple tweets just to kind of give dads and parents alike. Like, it is like a board game of Clue, like a who done it or who's the one you need to like fish out to is the imposter. So it's interesting for them to gain those social skills and just not trust anyone. Like
More
just
than that, it's like-
question.
are you not worried that maybe you're teaching them how to lie really good?
Yes. Well, if
It's
they
like-
aren't good at it now, they might as well learn just to.
Well, I mean, you're gonna have like two. You're gonna walk in. You're gonna have like a spilled jar of something with peanut butter. Two kids sitting there, and they're like, "Oof, pretty sus." I don't know. And all of a sudden, there's this like, does everybody get around and discuss? You're like, we don't need to discuss. Your kids, and one of you did this. Like, you need to tell me.
All of a sudden, I walk out of the room thinking that I did it. Like somehow
Yeah,
they
no.
convinced me that.
Jeez, I feel really bad. I should leave.
Yeah. No, it's a neat element to it, and like you said, like it's not that they're talking online with strangers is a great thing. Like it still needs some sort of check-in time. I've walked by, spot checked, but it seems pretty harmless for the time, like for what it is. And I trust my 10-year-old, not so much my 7-year-old, but my 10-year-old to know when things aren't inappropriate. Like he should, log out of that server or whatever if things are, turning. But for the most part, it's I don't know. It's a neat pick up and play game that again they could just play a couple games before they have to get ready for dinner and then turn it off. Like it's not a big thing to put down.
So it's free on. I know it's free on mobile. Is that
Yep.
for tablets and phones?
Yes. Yeah.
So Android tablets, Android phones, iPhone, iPads.
Yep.
Okay.
So
That kind of makes it. Yeah, there's some kind of no-brainer part to that as far as trying it with kids. That's something a bit interesting.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I was a little bit concerned about it as far as what was the game that launched to great fanfare, had like the jelly beans running through an obstacle course?
Fall Guys.
Fall
Yeah.
Guys. I've seen that kind of fall off a little bit, and I was a little
Yes.
bit worried that Among Us would start to suffer that same fate, where it's like at some point the joke has kind of run its course. But it feels like it's got a little bit more legs than
It does. And there's a new map coming, and that's a huge deal to these kids. There's a new map coming in January, so if those legs are gonna last, it's gonna be like at least till March, because that map is gonna be played. But
you know
that's a huge thing. Like,
you know what the way to tell how something is trending or not is to see which game has been copied more on Roblox.
yes,
Because
yes,
to harken back to a previous conversation, you found your kid playing a Among Us knockoff while he was supposed to be studying on
Yes.
Roblox.
Yeah.
So have they ever done a? We're gonna do some quick googling here, folks. I'm curious if they've ever done a knockoff Fall Guys.
Oh, I
Roblox.
bet you. Yes, absolutely. I
Level.
don't think anyone could stay away from that in Roblox.
Roblox Fall Guys. Yeah,
Yeah, see,
immediately.
there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So-
it's like it's no biggie to. I don't know how they get away with it, honestly. I guess no one cares, because they monetize some sort of aspects to those games too. So
Man, they took like
yeah, it's
this is like
exactly like
it's called Slip Blocks.
slip blocks.
So the Roblox clone of
Even
Fall
the colors
Guys.
are the same. Like
the,
everything's the
the
same.
font. Yeah, it's not even.
It's not trying to be different.
It's a bit on the nose.
Yeah, like honestly, it doesn't look like it functions the same way, but really, for free, kind of, depending on what they slip in there. But
That is a lot better. So we're watching the gameplay here. The quality of the levels is a lot higher fidelity than I was expecting. Like that actually looks fairly good.
yeah, it depends on the person whoever kind of thought it up. You'd have to go through a ton of shovelware to find the right one, but slip blocks, right? That's what it's
Slip
called?
blocks sounds like
Slip
that.
blocks.
So like I said, that's how you can gauge how popular a game is how many clones
Yeah.
of it exist. Because I
right.
imagine Roblox must have everything, right? There's probably Fortnite clone.
Everything you can think of is in there, to some degree. Like it's not all well done, obviously, but I've seen a lot in there.
That's an absolute riot.
Yeah.
So with your kid playing Roblox, your kid spending time having free time to put into games, I had a question for you. It kind of came to me during the week, and I was thinking back to, especially when I used to try to 100% games, or I really wanted to get a special quest, I wanted to get a special item, something like that, and the
Yes.
amount of time I would have to spend on repetitive, boring tasks. So it's like, my kid doesn't seem to have as big a gauge as I do for being bored.
Yeah.
Seems to like to play the same game, same thing over and over again. In future, will I be able to use him for grinding, for gold, or for quests, or for anything else? And then here you are having two kids with game experience. Have you ever used your kid to grind a game for you?
Used is such a big word. Is that the right word used?
Have you ever
I'm
had
not
a
sure.
kid help you achieve
yes.
goals in games?
Absolutely. It's like when you would go out into the garage with your dad and your dad would say, "Come help me with the car, kid." And you come out, you scurry out, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna help."
This
fix
is
the
not
car."
very similar, but keep going.
And
Nice
your dad's
try.
working on the car, and hand me the socket wrench. Like that was your job, was just to hand the tools and not really like actually help, but just support. But you were happy to do it. And much like these games, if there's a lot of these runaround quests where I don't have the time to do, I will have my kids help, and they feel like they're really supporting me in the game with my character if they run around and do all the stuff that I don't want to do.
Okay, so that is really interesting. So, I mean, is it posed to them like that, where it's
No.
hey, if you're going to be playing, do this because that'll help me, and then there's like a sense of accomplishment, and they like turn it into you, or like how's that flow? Because that's kind of
Well,
as long as they're having fun. I mean, if they hate
Yeah.
it and you threaten to take away their dessert if they don't do it,
no, it's more like run around and do this stuff, but just don't touch the main story quests. So, then
Okay.
they're happy to do that. Like they can run around the world, they can get new weapons, armor, whatever. But like in Zelda, when there's Korok seeds everywhere, I think 800 of them, I'm not going to hunt down those puzzles because I don't care. Like I would love the
you ain't got
rewards
dad
for
time
it.
for that.
But I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, go hunt Korok seeds, and if anything comes along the way, like bad guys or whatever you want to fight, fine. But no main story quests because that's what I want to do, or at least be there for. But you want to do all the Korok seeds and do all the other stuff that I don't need to do to finish the game, but I would like that extra power and the extra stuff. By all means, go for
Yeah,
it.
level me up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Man, because I remember like it's not something you could get your kids to do, but I recently had to actually grind a game.
Oh.
I'm going through Borderlands 3.
Oh yeah.
Now I didn't beat it before, but I had it on PC and I got like really far. So I'm going through it again. I'm like, I don't want to do
Again.
all the sides. No, the main game's fine, having fun, but like all the there's a million side quests all the time, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm telling you what, I want to get to the end, so I'm just going to, because the game I bought actually for Xbox, it was an Ultimate Edition, so it has all the DLC,
Oh my god.
like
that
big
is
interesting missions. So I want to get to that stuff. I don't want to redo every tiny mission. But what happened is I got to a boss I couldn't beat, because usually the way that I play games, like because I'm doing these quests because I'm having fun,
right.
is by the time I get to a boss, it's like recommended level 15. It's like, yeah, I'm like 30. I'm fine. But not so. So I actually had to leave. It was embarrassing. I had to leave this boss battle and go and do a bunch of side quests to level up and come back.
Oh, no.
And that spurred this a little bit because I was like, okay, like now again, you would never do this with Borderlands, but could you sick your kids on? Listen, this guy's got to be level 18. You like playing it. And much like your Korok seeds, just go around.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's a good
Absolutely.
gaming dads. We have an innovation here.
I think you just have these little farm of kids that just grind your stuff away while you're sleeping or napping or doing whatever you need to do. That's not that.
Napping. Napping would be good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of. You must have a horror story because the first thing came to my mind, especially if it's a big, large game like Zelda, you're trying to get through. You have a mythic sword you're saving for a boss, and you're handing the keys over
Yeah.
to that delicate vehicle to your kids. Are you
So-
not worried something's going to go down? Has something gone down?
Yes, something has gone down in Zelda with the Korok seeds. If no one's aware of Breath of the Wild, you can collect a lot of food and cook a lot of recipes that boost your health or your stamina or whatever else. And I collected a lot of food that's very rare, but they found out that they could start cooking. And the cooking animation and the song, which is really catchy,
It is good.
right? Like I could play it in my head right now. They loved that part of it. So they cooked a bunch of meals and they thought they were helping me by cooking all these meals. And if you don't cook them with the right amount of stuff in them, they turn out as garbage and they just give you like 1 or 2 hearts. But if you cook them as they're supposed to be with the right ingredients, they can boost your health quite a fair bit. So I had all these low-level cooking food supplies in my backpack, which sucked. But no harm really. Like it kind of sucks because now I have to go and do things kind of again. But they had fun. But
Okay. The one I was more waiting for is they again, like they overwrote my save file. They
that
destroyed all my like mythic armor, or they sold it because they liked the pink level 1 stuff. Like just
I
more
yeah.
ruinous stuff than.
Well,
just-
no, but you do
just
have to get
food.
in the lowdown in Zelda where everything breaks, right? So
Oh,
don't
God,
use
I
this
hate-
sword because it'll break and I'll never get it again. So just don't do anything. So I think if you set the ground rules, they're happy to oblige because it kind of gives them more screen time too that they would have to either ask for or earn to get anyway. But if you're like, hey, cool, you play this for 45, 60 minutes, go nuts, do this thing, report back.
Keep tabs on your prog. We'll have a performance review
That's right.
at the end of the week to see how you've done. Well, let's see if you've earned your allowance.
That's
Ooh.
right. Oh, this is
You were
early.
tasked with getting to level 40 and
That's right.
35. Hey, listen.
You're staying up tonight and finishing that
Oh,
level.
jeez. Look, I know you have school tomorrow, but like this is
No,
important. We have
right.
priorities in this house. Oh man, so that's good. So we have a we have a light at the end of the tunnel for some dads.
Yeah.
Did they ever come out with a patch for Breath of the Wild where like things wouldn't break anymore?
No. No. People have modded it.
well,
that they wouldn't break. But yeah, they should, because I don't want things to break, because I work hard for it.
I
And the
would-
last thing as a dad, I don't want it to break and go find it again.
I would go back to the game and finish it if they ever bring it, but I just got so discouraged. I was like, all right, that's
Yeah.
enough. I'm done.
No.
I'm not doing this. No more.
Even the most powerful stuff in the game like loses its charge. So like, oh my god, you can't even give me that. Like the Master Sword, you can't even give me like
Ugh.
full Master Sword powers here.
I know it's just so counter to how I like to. I really don't have time for that.
It should just be an option. Again, we've talked about that. Dad options. We just need parental controls, but on the side of like what favors us.
Dad mode and then kid.
Yes.
Who's playing? Are you a true gamer? Are you a dad with little time?
Can
Are
you
you a
imagine?
kid grinding your dad's account?
Yes,
Just
kid
try
mode, and it just locks off the main quests. That would be amazing.
all I
Somebody
can
do
do is
that.
help your dads exploit your kids' game time. Let's go. Oh, well, that will wrap. I think we've given everyone some good ideas to go into this Christmas stretch. Your kids will be home from school for a while, so why not get them grinding those golds?
That's right.
Listen, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you have your own story of grinding, having your kids grind out for you, maybe deleting some of your saves or anything else, we'd love to hear you. Reach out to us at New Dad Gaming. You can find us at Twitter or Facebook with that handle, or our website, newdadgaming.com. If you like the podcast, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Pandora now, we just launched on, and any other major podcasting services. We'd really appreciate a review, and pass along to any other gaming dads who might need some hot dad gaming tips like this for how to play games with kids. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I'll have to check how many Korok seeds I actually have. Let's see if they meet that goal.
Get us back updated. We'll see where we
That's
get to. All right. See you next week.
All right, see you.